Hey everyone, RogueGold here, and today I'm bringing you the finale to this three-part little mini-series that I've done over these past few days. If you didn't watch the previous two, I will briefly bring you up to speed. In part one, we dove into the hints and clues we've gotten about what kind of content the devs already have planned for Year 4 and what we might be able to expect to see in TU 16 through 18 this year. And then in yesterday's part 2, we shifted focus to what the community wants to see in Year 4 content, as the devs stated they were willing to take community suggestion and influence. And so we created a bit of a voting station for people to come and share their ideas. Both of those were super fun to do and talk about, and so I will leave links in the description to both of those videos if you're potentially interested in checking those out. But today we come to part 3, the final part to this unofficial little mini-series, and I'm very excited for it. As you could probably tell from the title, I'm going to lay out a theory I've developed since the release of TU 15, that being why I believe we might be seeing the return of snow and the winter season at some point in the Division 2's Year 4. You know, part 1 focused on categorizing what types of content I think are reasonable to expect. Part 2 is about sharing our own ideas for Year 4 content, and this is really neither. This is just a theory that I've come up with based off of a few hints and clues that we've gotten, and so I'm certainly not saying this is going to happen, but I do think it's a legitimate possibility for Year 4, and so that's what I want to share today. I think it's pretty exciting. I certainly hope you enjoy. Let's dive in. Beyond the evidence I'm about to present to you, let's get one thing straight. It's no secret to either ourselves or the developers that people want to see the return of snow to the game. That's been made very clear by many people for a long time, and so that's really why I think this is even plausible in the first place. It would be a huge undertaking to implement, no doubt, but I think they know that it would lead to a huge return. So we'll see what happens. But let's get to the evidence here. I've got two things to share with you that I think are very interesting. The first actually comes from the new countdown game mode added with TU 15, and I think the timeliness of this certainly adds to the intrigue of whether it could be credible or not. So maybe some of you have heard this, maybe not, but if you fail a countdown run, I believe during the extraction portion, like your whole team wipes, then Kelso has a chance to deliver this line that you're seeing on screen right now. A lot of people are going to lose power. Without power and heat this winter, we're going to lose a lot more people. We need to get the plant back online. So, nothing huge, but she does specifically mention winter, and if this were any other game, I would say, oh, well, that's insignificant, but the devs know how iconic winter is to the division, and considering the game is supposed to be set in, like, the middle of summer, it's a weird mention, one that I don't believe has happened before, unless, of course, the timeline is indeed moving forward and we are approaching winter. So that's one thing. Maybe on its own it's not all that significant, but then we come to this next bit of evidence, and that was during my recent interview that I did with Yannick, which you can find pinned in the top corner if you're interested. He confirmed that the events that take place in the recently released Recruited novel are indeed canon to the Division 2's world, you know, the main Division world, and that those events will be referenced at certain points throughout Year 4's story in-game. Now alone, that may not seem significant. You're like, oh, whatever, that's cool. But there's one caveat there. Now, if you haven't read the book, I'm not going to spoil any story elements, so don't worry about that, but I'm going to talk about the time of year in which the book is set. So if you don't want to know about that, then here's your heads up. But Recruited takes place during the fall. The author, Thomas Parrott, confirmed that it takes place between the months of September and October. That's getting pretty late into the year, notably a much different season than the Division 2's main game. And if Division 2's story is planning on referencing events from Recruited, then how can you reference something if it hasn't happened yet? My point is here, the timeline in the Division 2 has to be moving into the fall, at the point at which, you know, Season 9's story is at, and we visit the Fairview power plant. There's literally no other way to make that connection with Recruited make any sense. Unless, of course, they're going to just cheat a little bit and ignore the seasonal difference, but my whole theory is, I don't think they are. I think that because we know they plan on referencing one another, because they dropped this little line about winter in Countdown, I think at some point in Year 4 here, there could be a legitimate possibility that we see the game setting transition into the winter, and that both DC and New York get a huge snowy facelift. Now let me be very clear, once again, this is not confirmed. This is just my own little prediction and fun theory, but I think there could be some credibility to it. And if the devs are looking to continue surprising players and keep bringing more people back to the game throughout Year 4, bringing back the snow would be one way to do that. I mean, Yannick himself said that he's very excited for players to see Season 11. What if that's because Season 11's story is going to take place in a completely transformed Washington, D.C., because that would probably be the most likely time for it to happen. Season 10 would be a bit early, I think, if that's set to drop around August or September, but Season 11, right around December or January, I don't know, guys. That's really about all I've got for you. I just found these connections to be super interesting and wanted to share them with you all. So I certainly hope you have enjoyed and have begun formulating your own ideas and theories. Thank you all so much for watching. Leave a like if you enjoyed this video, and be sure to subscribe with notifications on so you can be updated every time I upload. Let me know your thoughts about my theory that the Division 2 could be headed into the winter setting. Do you think my little bits of evidence are enough to back that idea up? Maybe not. What other things do you think could point towards or against the idea of snow returning to the game? Whatever you're thinking about that or anything else, be sure to let me know. As always, I'll be very curious to read through all of your guys' thoughts. And yeah, everybody, I think that just about does it for me on this one. Once again, thank you all so much for watching. I hope you have a wonderful day, and until the next one, guys, RogueGold. Ow.